Good morning, everyone. It's nice to see everyone back for the next round of our 4 virtual training sessions on e-commerce marketing. I am Rebecca. I'm the Director of Marketing and Events at the National Retail Association. We've been very pleased to have partnered with StraightArrow since September last year. StraightArrow are essentially pioneers of creative process outsourcing based in the Philippines. They service customers in the UK, the US, and in Australia. They've got efficient, reliable, and scalable creative and marketing support to creative teams around the world. So introducing Christine from StraightArrow, and she's going to get this webinar started.
Thanks so much, Beck. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's session. Thank you again to the NRA for another session of learning. This is the 3rd of our 4 sessions. And then before we deep dive into the session today, here are some reminders just to get things started. Number 1, please take note of any tactics that you think would be worth exploring for your e-commerce website or your business. Have your pen and papers ready. Make sure your notebook is on hand or any note-taking app. So we'll utilize the poll section of the Zoom conference meeting so please watch out for that. So the poll questions will pop up on your screen, and then you can just select your answers from there. We'll also have a Q&A at the end of the session. And if you're watching this webinar from your desktop or laptop, we recommend that you switch into full screen mode so you can view the slides better. And then you can also opt to either hide or minimize the video thumbnail. So it's your option. And then we'll also be sharing links to free resources and other references throughout the session, during the session, which would be able to help you with your e-commerce, SEO, and social content implementation. So that will appear in the chat box. And it will also be sent on our email after the session. Okay, so in the next hour, what we'll be talking about is what you need to know to be able to implement your SEO strategy for your business, and also the foundations for your social content strategy, what social media channels are available, the purpose of each to be able to help you understand what makes sense for your business. And we'll also be tackling content pillars. So just a quick background about StraightArrow, in addition to what Beck mentioned earlier. So we're an outsourcing company specializing in creative and digital marketing support. So we've been helping businesses in the US, the UK, and Australia for more than 10 years now. And last September, we entered into a marketing partnership with the NRA to be able to help NRA members scale their retail businesses online. So one of our expertise is setting up retail businesses on e-commerce platforms in as short as 3 days. So if you have an online strategy and need to launch an online shop quickly, then we can help you with that. But if you do not have an e-commerce strategy yet and would like to learn more, so one of our speakers today is e-commerce expert and owner of withSmallBusiness, Claudia North. So Claudia is joining us again today to share her expertise and be a resource for you on building your e-commerce business. So Claudia has been in the digital marketing and strategy space for more than 25 years. So she has also worked with the businesses not only in Australia, but across different countries around the world. She has also founded 2 e-commerce businesses, one of which is withSmallBusiness. And joining Claudia today as one of our speakers is Trisha Chua from StraightArrow. So Trisha leads our digital marketing team for our clients in the Australian time zone, and she is also our resident social media guru. So hi Trisha, hi Claudia.
Hi Christine.
Hi, good morning.
Go ahead, Claudia.
Thank you, Christine, and thank you, Rebecca, for the opportunity to present the webinars to your valued NRA members. And also welcome to all the small business owners that have joined us today. We hope that you get a lot out of the session, and particularly some practicable actions that you can start applying to your business as of right now. So just a little bit about my business, withSmallBusiness. Our mission is to significantly reduce the failure rates of small businesses globally by 2025. We aim to achieve this by empowering small business owners just like you to grow sustainably so that you can succeed over the long term. So we're here with you so that you don't have to go it alone. Okay, so now let's kick off with a little refresher on SEO, our first topic for today. So SEO is the act of acquiring traffic from search engines for the digital assets that we own. So how SEO works is that search engines become more valuable by getting more users. So when I say more valuable for search engines, what I mean is that Google, for example, monetize their users through advertising such as Google Ads. So the more valuable they become when they have more users. So they do that by providing the best possible answers to their users' questions. So if you help search engines users answer their questions, then they're going to give you a higher ranking. Search engines get more usage and you get more traffic. So at the core of it, that's how SEO works. So covering off what SEO is not. So it is not paying for traffic. It is not a scam. It's not shady. It's not something that you can execute quickly. It's not just about optimizing for Google. And it's not that hard, but it definitely takes time. So search engines and their algorithms evolve every day. They will continue to stamp out any algorithm hacks that try to cheat the system. And ultimately, authenticity in your content will prevail. So SEO is a little less exact than the cost-efficient revenue tactics that we covered in week 1 and the CRO tactics that we covered last week in the NRA webinars that we've been doing. So as much as I'm more of an exact person, I love data and I'm very particular about things, what I do like about the grey of SEO is that ultimately, if you are authentic in your content and you naturally connect with your audience, you will be rewarded and ranked higher by search engines. So just a quick moment to take a poll. I wanted to understand how many of these do you think are search engines? So you should see a poll coming up on the screen shortly. And if you can answer any of the questions, any of the answers there, are 5 of these search engines, 12 of them search engines, or if you don't know, you can say that too. I'll just give you a few moments to answer that. Okay, thank you. And if I can just get those answers, Beck, please. Oh, good. Okay. So that's good. So most 70% of the audience said 12, which was actually the correct answer, which is great. So obviously you have a really good understanding that there's many, many search engines out there. When we think of search, we do often think of Google, and that's because Google search actually acquires almost 82% of market share compared to the other search engines like some of the ones up here. This list is also by no means an exhaustive list. Yahoo, Bing, DuckDuckGo, it can go on. But I just wanted to bring up this point because later on when we're talking about content for SEO, I think it's important that you remember that there's many places that people search for information, and depending on your kind of business, people will search, utilising different tools. So my experience with small businesses and SEO has been something like this. So let me know, does this sound familiar to you? You're hearing everywhere that you should be working on increasing your organic traffic through SEO. When you hop into Google and look up SEO tips, it looks something like this. So our first section there says, make your website about one thing, mention keywords that matter the most, link to internal pages on your site, use a permalink structure that includes keywords, remove anything that slows down your website, use keywords in your images, link to other websites, update your website frequently. 10 most important SEO tips you need to know. This one I love in particular, 75 actionable tips that work like a charm. 24 expert SEO tips and advice to boost your organic traffic in 2020. You're possibly reading some of those articles and they first indexing and focusing on long tail keywords. And this image is probably a little bit like what the chaos and confusion may look like in our brains. So I know we've had a poll just recently. This one I would love you to answer, as your responses to this particular question will help me tailor the webinar today to your SEO needs. So please take a moment to answer our poll on, do you feel like you've been trying different SEO tactics to drive organic traffic to your site and you can't see any real results? So the poll should have popped up there, so you can answer yes, no, or maybe you haven't tried any SEO tactics. Again, I'll just give a moment for everybody to respond to that. Okay. So over 80% of our audience today hasn't actually tried any SEO tactics. So we just wanted to say that it's not just you. SEO is a term I called a digital chameleon. So if you think about it, search engines are alive with millions of users searching for information, which is processed largely by Google Search's various algorithms. These algorithms are deeply infused into artificial intelligence and machine learning to improve your Google search experience every day. So you can imagine that all of that data, so close to 7 billion searches daily, utilising artificial intelligence, which is based on our consumer behaviour and trends, on those 7 billion searches, and then add in the machine learning capabilities, of which Google has just released a new system which is 80 times faster than the previous state-of-the-art machine learning. So hence why SEO tactics of yesterday don't work today, as the digital chameleon changes its colours every day. So my point here really is that with the changes of algorithms and the changes in our behaviours, both socially, environmentally, politically, etc., these algorithms continue to change the way that they rank our content. And so therefore it's really, really challenging to actually say these are the tactics that work for SEO and this is what I'm going to implement in my business. In the golden age of SEO, which was only a few years ago, SEO was actually a winnable game. As I mentioned with the SEO digital chameleon, these tactics don't work anymore. So at a time when Google can change their algorithm and wipe your rankings from their search results, which is what happened with the introduction of the Panda and Penguin updates. Also, getting the right traffic to your website is not only difficult, but it's barely measurable using SEO. You can't be sure what your website visitors have searched for in the search engine because Google now actually hides the number of searches in your reporting. Also, if you're paying less than $1,000 per month on SEO services, it's likely that you're getting no value. So I would highly recommend, if you're doing that, to take a good look at your results and the tactics that you're using. They could actually be damaging your website rankings, particularly if your SEO resource is creating spammy links that Google actually penalises. Basic 300-word blogs that you may be investing in from content farms are also a waste of your marketing investment, as well as buying backlinks from link farms no longer work. That kind of service is dead, and it did work a number of years ago, but not anymore. So with algorithms, AI and machine learning here to stay, how can we actually invest in SEO in a way that won't be a waste of our time and money? So I have a simplified approach for how you can start to apply SEO tactics to your business, which I'm going to share with you today. However, before I jump into those recommendations, I just want to narrow our focus for how we actually think about SEO and how we will implement it for sustainable growth. So there's 3 key components to SEO. The first one is technical SEO. The second one is relevancy of your content. And finally, authority of your content and your brand. So starting with the first one, technical SEO, this actually refers to the process of optimizing your website for the crawling and indexing of search engines. With technical SEO, you can help search engines actually access, crawl, interpret, and index your website without any problems. It's called technical SEO because it has nothing to do with the actual content of the website or with your website promotion. The main goal of technical SEO is to optimize the infrastructure on your website. So technical optimization is a process of making it easier for search engines to find your website. Relevancy. So it's our job to understand what our customers are searching for and create relevant content for them. Relevancy is all about making changes either to your existing content or really thinking deeply about the new content to make it more helpful and relevant for your users and search engines. So for relevancy, there are 2 questions you should ask. One is, what is the best for our users? And what is the best content for our business? If your content actually answers both of these questions or one of them, then it is a relevant document, which means that it will rank better. And the third one, authority. So I call this authenticity. It's actually about focusing on the metrics that show search engines that you are trustworthy and useful to users. For example, if I had a small business association actually link an article back to my website, that is going to be way more valuable than 10 links that I paid from a link farm that have been sourced from random websites in obscure countries. And over the years, many resources have tried to hack the algorithms to cheat the rankings, and these algorithms are outsmarting all of these tactics. And it is actually about authentic communication and content that actually connects with real people. So now that you understand the 3 basic components of SEO, I wanted to just run you through my recommendations for how to apply SEO to your business. So almost 80% of you guys actually said that you haven't implemented any SEO tactics, which is exciting in that you've got a big opportunity to start from scratch. And in doing that, I would certainly recommend an SEO technical audit on your website. So if you or your developer haven't recently done an on-site SEO technical audit, this is definitely the first thing that you should focus on. So the list that I have here is only part of what's on an SEO technical audit, but I just wanted to give you a flavour of some of the things that we actually look at to help improve SEO for your website. So this list here focuses largely on title tags, headings, and metadata. Aside from this checklist, other things that an SEO technical audit will look at are what is the URL structure on your website, what is your site structure, what is the navigation like, how have you structured your content, micro-formatting, how have you set up your Google Search Console, how have you set up Google Analytics, etc. So it really is important to have the SEO infrastructure of your website set as soon as you can. So just running through this checklist to give you a bit of a sense of what these particular features are about. So number 1, are your page titles unique? So unique page titles offer one of the most effective means to classify your page, and they're strongly weighted ranking factors. Number 2, are your page titles adhering to the character limit? So page titles should be contextual, descriptive, and relevant to that page's content. A keyword research and mapping process will help identify improvements that will aid in increasing search engine performance. Number 3, are your meta descriptions and page titles using SEO-friendly keywords? So meta descriptions are seen on SERPs, which is basically the search engine results pages. And when they're well worded, they will definitely assist increasing the click-through rate to your website. Number 4, are your headings using relevant heading tags? So H1, H2, H3. Correctly coded headings will help break up and theme significant areas of content on your site. So they also help the search algorithms determine the relevance of your content. Are your headings structured to use commonly searched keywords? So whilst spamming and stuffing headings with keywords is definitely not recommended, It is nonetheless good practice to incorporate some common search terms into your page headings. Are you utilising meta robots? So meta tags are a great way to provide search engines with information or directives about your sites and your pages. Number 7, so do you have a sitemap? So again, talking about website structure, sitemaps can improve crawl rates and the speed at which your website can be indexed by the search engines. Have you added alt text to your website images? So this is basically that an image can be defined in the code using its alternative text, and it's definitely useful for search engines in identifying what the visual of the content is actually about, and again, ensuring that you don't overstuff with keywords is definitely a good practice. And finally, are all your images on your website CSS or cascading style sheets optimised and compressed? So when you compress your CSS and your images, they can improve your website page speed and therefore your Google ranking. So if any of the content that I've covered here is hard for any of you to digest, please feel free to reach out to me at the end of the webinar, and both StraightArrow and myself can certainly assist you with an on-site SEO technical audit. So recommendation number 2 is relevancy, and this is about content marketing. So once you have your on-site technical SEO elements in place, this is definitely where I would get you to put your attention next. So what can you do to make SEO worth it ongoing if you're going to commit to this channel? So the answer is definitely content marketing, and then amplifying your content marketing, which I'll touch on a little bit later. So, but first, content marketing, which you've probably heard a lot, is now the new form of SEO. So content marketing not only works as far as search engine results and rankings, but it's also something that can be used across all of your digital assets for both your paid and your organic activities. So there's definitely multi-purpose opportunities with content marketing. So giving something of value to your audience while creating marketing assets will serve you and your brand for years to come. So as I mentioned a little bit earlier, when Google changed the algorithm for the Panda and Penguin updates, there were big businesses that actually invested millions of dollars in their SEO, and their rankings were completely wiped and they had to start again. That is definitely something that can easily happen in the future. And this is why I'm talking about authentic content marketing, because at the end of the day, the objective of the search engines is to marry up good content and good brands with users. So if you stick to that philosophy and that thinking, no matter what happens technically and with the algorithms and AI and machine learning, you will continue to have good rankings for your brand and for your content. So just content marketing, people think is expensive and a lot of time, etc. What I'm talking about here is just focusing on investing in a few pieces of content that you can drive significant organic traffic that has been based on what your users are searching for and what you believe the research that you've done into keyword research and other blogs and articles, etc., is showing you where the opportunities are. So develop a plan for the type of content that you could create to improve your SEO results. Outline a schedule that's going to work for you to produce that content over the coming months. This is then the type of content that you should amplify with paid media for best results, but that's something we will talk about a little bit later once you start to build up your organic content base. So finally, my recommendation is authority. I would actually recommend that you don't spend time on that at this stage based on the audience and only a few people working on SEO tactics. And the reason is because I'd spend the next 3 to 6 months on the previous 2 components. So if you wanted to do an SEO technical audit, that would take, depending on how busy your resources are, but potentially, a week to get that done. So once you've got that done and in place, then focusing on your content marketing pieces. And I appreciate that small businesses are very busy and have a whole lot on their plate. So without overstressing yourself, actually coming up with, say, 3 different ideas for content marketing and doing those over the next 3 to 6 months is a really good investment of your time and your money. Then you're going to have time for your content library to build up, and then over 3 to 6 months, once you have that, that is when I would start to suggest bringing in the authority. So you might want to look at an outreach, for guest blogging and getting your backlinks, etc., in place. So just one final note on content. I remember being at a lunch many years ago in Sydney where Seth Godin presented. And one thing he said that's resonated with me since that day was about connecting with people like us. So the more you niche down your content and your message, the more the message is going to resonate. So be real, be authentic, and be you. So I think it's time for us now to move on to social content strategy. So I would like to introduce Trisha. She's the digital marketing team lead from StraightArrow to talk about social content. Over to you. Hi, Trisha.
Hi. So thank you, Claudia. So hi, everyone. Good morning. I'm here to deep dive more into social media, mainly helping you create a social content strategy for different platforms. So before we start, I'd like you all to think about your business and ask yourselves this question. Do I have a social content strategy in place? Or am I just getting by with simply having something to post from time to time? So having a strategy means that you have a bigger picture in mind with the posts you're sharing versus having just something regular to post every day. So if most of you silently answered, yes, I just make sure to have posts on my channels, then I'd like you to rethink this and make sure to build a strategy for your social media channels moving forward. With that, I'd like to share with you some insights on defining your social media platform purpose, meaning which platforms are more relevant to your business, and we'll also tackle on content pillars and hashtags and how you can help or how you can build your content strategy using these. So there are multiple social channels that people use. As long as you use the platform to communicate and connect with other people, it's considered as a social media platform. So I've listed here the most common and well-known platforms out there like Facebook or Instagram, Twitter. I also included messaging apps like Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp or WeChat or Vibers and others. Before we kick off, I'd like to know through a poll, how many social profiles are you using personally? So there's a poll that should pop up on your screens right about now. So let us know if you only have one profile, 2 to 5, 5 or more, or you're not using any. So this means, for example, I have both Facebook and Instagram. I use them every day. I also use Pinterest from time to time. So I'll have to answer 2 to 5. So I'll just wait for. Okay. Thank you for responding to that. So around 64% have 2 to 5 platforms that they use personally. Some of you have more than 5. And there's some that don't use social media at all. Okay, so interesting results. Let's move on to the next poll. So next is, I'd like to know how many social media platforms did you establish for your business? So does your brand have a Facebook page and a Twitter page, for example? Similar to the first poll answers, but this is now for your business. So if you only have 1 or 2 to 5, more than 5, I don't use any. I'll give you a few more seconds to answer that. All right, can I see the results? All right, so thank you for participating. So we only have around 73% have 2 to 5, and then the remaining 27% only have one social media platform for their business. Okay, so thank you for that. So we've got some interesting results. Most of you have 2 or more channels for yourself, and for your business. So the truth is, you can't stick to just one channel. Each platform has its own main goal, and there are different channels that appeal to different age groups as well. So it applies to how you strategize your posts. So if you, as a person, you have 2 or more profiles for yourself, then what's stopping you from creating profiles to different platforms for your business too? So depending on who your customers are and where your customer demographic is, the best way to go is to have at least 2 or 3 channels for your retail business so you can broaden your reach, taking advantage of these platforms' strengths and increasing your brand's overall impact for success. So before we deep dive into some of the channel purposes, let's take a look at a few statistics first. Okay, so this report is taken from HootSuite's digital marketing report for this year. If you're not familiar with HootSuite, it's a social media tool that you can use online to monitor your social activity in one dashboard. So if you have both Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, you can monitor it all in this tool. So you can also schedule posts and generate useful reports for your pages using this. So I also use this tool for some of our clients, and it's very handy. So you might want to check that out. So going back to the results of their report, removing the messenger platforms, Facebook is the most commonly used channel by marketers with around 2.49 billion monthly active users. So yeah, that's a lot. And then followed by YouTube, a video-focused platform at 2 billion users. Then Instagram with around 1 billion. TikTok, who has been dramatically increasing its active users, especially during this time, at 800 million. And then we have Snapchat, and then Twitter, and then Pinterest. So if you think about it, Facebook owns Instagram as well, which really means that Facebook is the one dominating the charts on a global scale in terms of users. When it comes to demographics, Social Bakers, it's also an online tool similar to Hootsuite. So Social Bakers generated its own social media trends report and showed that Facebook and Instagram are the best platforms to use when you are targeting millennials and Gen Z. So if you'll notice on the charts, there's a huge gap for that age group using the platforms as compared to others. Last chart I want to show you is the chart from Sprout Social. Again, another social media tool. So I love trying out different tools and reading their insights, if you've noticed. So this chart shows how likely a consumer will take further action on your brand once they follow you. So remember that once a person follows you on your social media page as a brand, that's one validation that they are interested to know more about you. So that will then trigger them to scroll through your feed to know more about you. So creating content that will lead that person to do specific actions until he becomes a customer is very important. So according to this, some actions that they're most likely to take are visiting your website through a link in your social page, or visiting your actual physical store if you have one, making a purchase, or maybe writing a review or referring you to a friend or family member, and so on. So with these recent statistics in mind and thinking about what's best for your business, how do you then choose the social platforms that you should be active in for your brand? So I have 3 steps for you to keep in mind. First step is identify your buyer persona. Get to know your customers better. So a buyer persona is a semi-fictional representation of your ideal customer based on market research and real data about your existing customers. So when creating your buyer personas, consider including customer demographics, their behavior patterns, their motivations in life, and goals. So if you don't have one, I suggest that you take time to create at least 2 profiles. This will really help you understand your customers better and strategize your marketing around their interests and needs. So there's a link on this slide on how to build your persona from HubSpot that you can check out. It contains a list of questions so you can build your persona in detail once you have the time. So you can also access the link through the chat box here. I think it's already there. So it's already linked on the chat box. You can check that out later. So for now, try to think about your ideal customer during this session and quietly answer what pops in your mind with these questions. So how old is your ideal customer? Or where does he or she live? What are their hobbies and interests? What are their usual daily struggles? Which platforms or social media pages do they browse through on their free time? And is he or she young? Is he working? Or is he a parent? These questions. And once you get that sorted out and you have an ideal customer in mind, let's move on to the next step. So setting your goals. I know that most companies have already set their business goals before the year started, so that they can plan out what they need to do to achieve their targets for the year. So they already have that. Now, one thing to consider is, did you set milestones for these goals? So if so, how can social media help you achieve these goals? So try to plot in where social media comes in support of your overall goals. Lastly, the third step is to marry both step 1 and step 2. So your customer must match with your goals. If they don't, then it might be good to review the first 2 steps again. But if they do match, then now that you have an ideal customer in mind and you already set milestones, it's time for you to plot out how you want everything to happen by choosing the platforms you need to achieve those goals. So based on your buyer persona profiles, where are your ideal customers usually on? Is it Facebook? Is it YouTube? Is it Twitter? So there, you can also check out your competitors. Most likely when they're active on a social media platform and it's really working for their business, then those platforms might also work well for you since you kind of have the same target market. Next is, how are you going to achieve the milestones you set for your buyer personas? So for what purpose are you going to use these channels? So these are questions you need to consider before actually investing time and effort in building your social media profiles for your brand. Now I want to deep dive into the top 3 platforms that are most actively being used to give you a better idea on how to maximize them. So let's start with Facebook. Facebook is the biggest platform, again, 2.49 billion active users, and where most businesses invest the most in. So the audience here is broad and wide, and depending on how you target and compose your posts, it can reach the right audience and potential customers for your brand. So Facebook is best used for engaging with your customers and generating leads and referrals to your website. It can be an extension of your customer service as well, responding to inquiries or reviews and questions about your business, your products, or your services. It's very helpful for customers to know more about what you're offering. So most businesses who have stores also use Facebook to advertise their products. So Facebook ads will significantly improve and shorten the gaps in reaching your buyer personas when you want to sell online. Here are some example of Facebook feed posts, so some content tips that you can take note of. So the average attention span of a person only lasts for 8 seconds. So that means that with the volume of content shown on Facebook by different people and brands on your feed, you need to catch the attention of the right people through some creative content for your brand. So some contents or types of content to consider would be first is video. So if you've noticed, people are getting lazier to read, and videos are an easy way for you to make things visual and entertaining for them. So the first example here, the first image shows a recipe video from Tasty. So if you're familiar with this is a Facebook page where they post different recipes and it's in a video format. One good way to optimize videos on Facebook is to make them in a square format. This makes it bigger on mobile, and it's easier for users to watch them on their phones. So it's also a bonus that you can also post it on Instagram without actually resizing your video. Next is take advantage of pin posts. So when a person visits your page, the first post is what they'll see. So when they scroll through it, the first post is the one that you're going to pin on top. So if you have an offer that you want to push, pinning that on the top of your feed can also be very useful. So the example there is on Cotton On's Facebook page. The pin post is an announcement for them. So they're staying with their 30 off everything. So yeah, so that's a good way for their customers to know that there is an ongoing discount. Next tip is to start a discussion. So polls or open-ended captions or questions on your copy make your customer curious and eventually engage with you. So in the example shown here, the third one, Tim Tam took advantage of using different emoji reactions on Facebook to get their followers engaged. And some of them went on a healthy and fun debate on what the best flavor of Tim Tam is for them. You can also sell your products through the Facebook Shop feature. If your website is built using an e-commerce tool like Shopify or WooCommerce, then it's easy to sync your catalog on Facebook. So think of Facebook as an extension of your website and store to sell your goods. So if you don't have a website yet, you can still upload your product catalog on Facebook so that you can sell on Facebook. There. And then another feature is the collection ad. So if you've built your catalog around different collections of your products, you can also use Facebook collections and promote your products through ads. So there are other ways to promote your products through ads, and Facebook collection is just one of them. So let's move on to the second most used platform, YouTube. So the growth of video marketing has dramatically increased over the past 2 or 3 years, and it can't be overlooked. So according to HubSpot, roughly 83% of marketers say videos give them a strong ROI, and 90% feel the level of video competition has increased. So that means more and more brands have been using videos as of now. So adding a video platform to your social strategy could actually make your brand look relevant and keep you up to speed with your competitors. So creating a video might sound a bit intimidating and hard to do, but think about how it can be helpful for your brand. So videos are very helpful to a very wide range of industries if you think about it. Like, for example, a restaurant could have a vlog with cooking tips, or a tech company might focus its video strategy around product demos or how to use their gadgets and its features. Or maybe a beauty store can do videos on makeup tutorials and how to use their products there. So the ideal number of videos to be posted per week is actually just one on YouTube. So videos take longer to produce. If you are following YouTubers, or if you like lurk on YouTube a lot, you'd notice that some of them they announce when you can expect their next video to be uploaded. So this actually makes their subscribers anticipate the video and keep their channel on top of their consumers' minds. So best times to post would be towards the end of the week. So YouTube is most active around Thursdays to Sundays, so towards the weekend, and it peaks at night. So the ideal time to actually post your videos is around 2 to 4 p.m. to give enough time for your video to be indexed and showed up in search results. There, an example here shown on your screens is Maybelline's YouTube channel. If you've noticed, their posts are branded and consistent, all have themed cover images for their videos. They use a defined color palette that makes their page look seamless and clean. So some YouTube content tips is to customize your channel that fit your brand look. So I always recommend to my clients who plan to do video marketing is to invest in good quality videos, meaning using the right tools. So if you're using a phone, make sure that it records good quality videos and it gets good quality audio as well. So good quality videos means it's high def, there are no weird sounds in the background, and those kinds of videos will actually perform better. Next is to plan your content. So have a mix of both trendy content and evergreen content. So evergreen content means that the content can last a long time and can still be relevant. So YouTube is an extension of Google. So most likely videos that have good ranking and relevance are also going to perform great. So in this case, makeup tutorials can be evergreen content. You can always watch videos to help you achieve a specific makeup look. And then an example of a trendy type of content, which isn't really evergreen, would be new product releases. So it's very time sensitive that you release it on a specific date. There. So next tip is to optimize your video for search. Maximize the title, the description, and tags on YouTube by using SEO best practices on keywords. So if you notice, there's I pasted a screenshot there on the right. The description there is long, so they mentioned a lot of the products that they've used, even links to their social channels and what the video is about. There. Next tip is to create playlists on similar topics. So let's say in this case for Maybelline, they have different Halloween looks that they want to get creative on. So they created their own playlist for that, so that it's easier for the consumers to navigate and find all the videos related to it. And last tip is don't overdo your videos. Creative edits are always welcome, but be sure that you match it with the content that you're showing. And yeah, when it comes to video length, every second counts. So make sure your videos can easily be digested by your consumers, and it's not something that will have dead air or anything like that. So a short video is around 4 minutes or less, and then a long one is considered more than 20 minutes. So how-tos or tutorials, they usually range from 3 minutes to 20 minutes, actually, depending on the complexity of what you're teaching to do. And talks and interviews or documentaries or inspirational videos are considered long videos because there are a lot of information to be absorbed. And usually these topics, they need to be expounded on. So last, Instagram is the third on the list and one of the biggest photo sharing platforms out there. So it's a photo sharing app. So since it's a photo sharing app, you've got to make sure that you have beautiful shots or images to use for your Instagram feed. So this platform is best for brand awareness and trend watching. You can browse through hashtags to search for specific topics you like. You can also check trends that match your interests through the Discover feature. So it's the magnifying glass icon at the bottom of the app. Once you click that, there's a feed of different posts that will be shown to you. So the Instagram algorithm works in a way where it studies your behavior on the app and shows you the posts in the discover feature that match your interests based on the posts that you like and engage with there. So influencer marketing is also strong on Instagram. So partnering with an influencer can also mean a wider reach for your brand, since that person promotes your products or services to its own set of followers. So they might not be following your page, but somehow they can follow through partnering with that influencer. So here are examples of Instagram feeds that obviously follows a theme and are conscious with their feed. So it's important to have strong visuals that reflect your brand on Instagram. So think of it as your catalog. So the first example is Postmates. Postmates is a company in the US who offers food delivery and other goods. So I placed this as an example because they use color blocking in their posts that make their feed look unique. So if you scroll through their feed, there are 9 tiles at a time with a specific color there. So it's a very interesting look on them. Next is a skincare brand. So they use a pastel color palette and maintains a consistent feed. They use flat lays of their products across the feed, and it matches their brand very well. It's easy on the eyes. Last is a makeup brand. So they plan their feed to make full faces of their models, but into different tiles. So making sure that the full face is featured, but they're gonna feature just a specific makeup per tile there. So it's always a good idea to get creative with photo sharing apps like Instagram, because the aesthetic appeal makes it easier for users to be interested in your brand. So yeah, one tip is when you're planning your feed, I recommend that you also use scheduling tools like Planoly or Later or Preview app. These are tools that can help you see how your feed will look like before it gets posted, so that you can plan it out and build it there. Next is Instagram stories. So Instagram stories are quick posts that only lasts for 24 hours. So they can be great for engagement. Use it to connect with your customers. So maximize Instagram story features for engagement, like story templates. It's the first photo here. These are fun templates that users can screenshot when you post it on your stories, and then they can answer on their own and share it on their own stories. So some brands use it to see their customers' preferences, their likes, what they dislike. This can also be part of your extensive customer research too, and add it to your buyer persona profile as necessary. And other features on Instagram stories would be polls or stickers, questions, and GIFs. Get your customers' opinion on almost anything you think relates to your brand. So it's an interactive and creative way to get your customers engaged on this platform. Another feature is Instagram Live. So Instagram Live is best used when you have something longer than a minute that you want to feature, maybe product launches, behind the scenes, or vlogs maybe that it's featured on a different platform aside from YouTube there. And you can also share posts as stories. When you get tagged on a post, or if that post is from a public profile, you can actually share it as a story too. And lastly, highlights. So highlights are for when you want your stories to last longer than 24 hours, and you can pin them below your bio. So those are some Instagram stories that you can do. And of course, lastly, Instagram is also a good platform to sell. So you will need a Facebook page with a shop and product catalog for you to do this. So once Instagram approves, then you can also start selling on the platform. So just a note that establishing a shop on Instagram takes a bit longer than Facebook because it has very strict guidelines. So here's an example of a brand on Instagram that has Instagram shopping features. So this is Fenty Beauty. a makeup brand as well. And yeah, so Instagram pages that have shopping features will usually have the shopping icon or tab on their profile. See the third one encircled on the first screenshot. So that's how it looks like. And then for posts that have tagged products in them, would also have the same icon on the upper right corner of that post. There. So when you click on the post, you'll see which products are used, and like that on the second screenshot, you will see all the tagged products there. And then when you click the view products icon there, the items that are tagged on the post will open. So look at the third screenshot. So that's how it will look like. So this feature will help you shop on the platform directly, and you will be led to a page to check out if you're ready to purchase already. There. So now that you've learned more about the most common platforms used for retail, remember that when you choose the platforms to finally use for your business, take advantage of each of their strengths. And with that, I'm sure that you are steps ahead in building your social content strategy. So it's now time to plan out your content for posting. So to discuss further on content pillars, let me pass the mic back to Claudia. Hi, Claudia.
Hi, thanks, Trish. Thanks for running through all those tips on the social media platforms. So just launching into our last topic for today on content pillars, topics and types. So what are content pillars and topic clusters? So content pillars are core topics of your business. So content pillars are like buckets that you can group similar themes or topics. So they can be created and organised into consumable content for your target audiences. Topic clusters are like a layer below content pillars. So basically they're additional content that supports your content pillars. Topic clusters provide the opportunity to expand on your content pillars and allowing you to address some aspects just more thoroughly in your content. So as much as your content pillars are going to be the hub of your information, it'll actually be your topic clusters that will ultimately attract your users, as the content is a lot more specific and niched down. So today I'm going to use Frank Body as our case study to demonstrate how you can define your content pillars and topic clusters. So Frank Body is an Australian natural skincare company. They started the unique beauty brand in 2013 when they noticed a number of female customers at the Melbourne-based cafe asking for the leftovers of coffee grounds to use as an exfoliator. Brilliant. With a small investment of $5,000, they actually created just one single product, which was their coffee body scrub, and they started to sell it on social media platforms with actually no marketing budget. So 5 years later, they are a $20 million business and selling in over 156 countries, and they're largely a content marketing strategy. So they're definitely worth a look if you want to follow and understand a brand that really nails it in the content marketing space. So content pillar number one. So this is their brand, where they're demonstrating their brand content pillar, and they're referring to, they're demonstrating here their values. So basically, Frank Body will donate 100% of their beauty scrub sales for the month of January to the Australian bushfires. So this is an opportunity where they're posting content which is about their brand and specifically about the values of what their brand stands for. So content pillar number two, they definitely focus on the ingredients of their product in that they're a non-toxic, cruelty-free, natural ingredients brand. This is definitely something that they focus on. So in these posts, they're talking about, coffee is our, number one ingredient, as well as in the top post there, they're talking about eucalyptus, finger lime, kakadu palm, etc. So from a topic, you've got your content pillar, which is the ingredients. From a topic cluster perspective, they could write a whole page or a whole blog or do an ebook just on coffee. Where do they get their coffee from? It's an Australian-owned and produced product, so did they get their coffee here? What are all the different types of coffee? What are the benefits of coffee? and the same goes for the other ingredients. So you can see how the topic clusters can really expand out into a whole lot more detailed information and then appeal to different audiences as well. So content pillar number 3 would be skin and body. So basically here there's education about the layers of dead skin and the benefits of exfoliating with a creamy face scrub. They're also talking about the skin survival tips for changes in season, as well as stretch marks for pregnancy. So you can see using the content pillar of skin and body, they're actually appealing to different audiences with, the pregnant mum, the change of seasons, and then just pure like techniques around their particular product. Their 4th content pillar is life and love. So you can see here they've got, it's completely unrelated in a way to natural ingredients. In saying that though, they're really appealing to their audience with inspirational and educational content. So an A to Z guide for modern dating, how to survive a holiday fling, and an anti-romantics guide to casual dating. So you can see that they're really focusing on the millennials in terms of this kind of content, trying to demonstrate that they understand this market, they understand how these people are feeling, they trust the brand. So it just gives them additional authority, relevancy and credibility. And their 5th content pillar is health. So they've done a great job here in terms of they've got articles about sleep, fitness and skin conditions. So again, content that's appealing at the topic cluster level really, really broadly. So you've got people with skin conditions, could be of any age, and they cover acne through to psoriasis and a whole range of other skin conditions. Then we've got the 5 beauty moves to do in under 10 minutes. Again, you can see that can appeal to anybody. And then sleep, effects of sleep on skin. So they do a great job in their content pillar for health of having topic cluster content that focuses on different audiences to engage people at different stages and life cycles. So just to put that into a framework for you on how do I actually, do content pillars and topic clusters myself. So what they've done is they've got 5 topic clusters. So you will definitely have content pillars. You would definitely have brand as one of your content pillars. Then ingredients, skin and body health, life and love. So they were the chunks of themes and core topics for their brand that they communicate on both through social, paid and on their website. And they've really noted how they can use topic clusters to reach out to different audiences. So you can see in terms of topic clusters, so down on the left-hand side, brand. So brand, vision, absolutely mission and values, cruelty-free, for example, they're key topics under brand that your brand, as well as obviously Frank Body, can definitely cover in blogs and posts, etc. Ingredients, as we've talked about, skin and body, they talked about techniques, skin conditions, life stages. Health we covered with sleep, skin, fitness and food. And then finally in life and love, they cover different life stages, self-care, relationships and lifestyle. So to take this to the next level, how do we, in a structured, strategic way, think about our content pillars and topic clusters is adding in our content types. So there's 4 different content types. One is inspirational content, so that's lifestyle content. The next one is information, so that's education. How can I educate people either about my brand, my product, the industry, or relevant industry topics? Ideas, so what tips and tricks can I give my users about my brand, my product, my industry? And then finally, innovation. So this is where you can use, challenging questions, etc., to innovate your brand. So, for example, they could do for innovation for ingredients. They could say for innovation, please do a recommendation of what natural ingredients we should use in one of our future products for Frank Body. And that is that's engaging because they're asking a question. They can do a poll and it's covering ingredients. So in terms of how you would use this framework, you've got your topic pillars and your topic clusters, and then you would apply inspiration to brand vision. So say, for example, with small business, our vision is to reduce the failure rates of small business by 2025. So how do I want to use that in an inspirational way in a post or in a blog piece? Then you can do inspiration by your mission, inspiration by your values, inspiration by cruelty-free. So basically, it ends up being quite a structured matrix. And just to give you a further vision, I know this looks probably hard to read, but basically, once you get the basic foundations of your content pillars and your topic clusters and your content types sorted, you can then start to pull these together in a logical way into a content calendar. So this is actually an example of an advanced content calendar template that I designed. It has all of the fields pre-populated so that you can actually just select from the drop-down menu. So it includes a few more features than what we've touched on today. So, for example, the first column says funnel phase. So this starts with awareness, interest, consideration, etc. And you click on that and you can pick your funnel phase. Then you go into your audience. So you have pre-populated your different audiences. So you might have 2, 3, 4 different audiences. So you might say, for my social content, I want to do an awareness piece. I want to do it to small business owners. The pillar is growth, for example. The product is a free growth webinar. The type is education. And then there's this extra section of channels. So that's owned, earned, and paid. So owned, we talk about our owned digital assets. Earned would be influencers and referrals, and paid, obviously, paid media. So this might be owned because I would do it on my own webinar platform, for example. And then we go into when do we schedule it and how do we track it, for example. So basically, a template like this can assist you in strategically planning out your content as well as tracking all of your content pillars, your topic clusters, your types of content, and you can help identify what content is actually working harder for your brand and give that more attention. So this was just something I wanted to give you a vision for where we go when we start with content pillars and topic clusters. Not to scare you off. First part would definitely be to spend some time, sit down, have a think about your business, put brand down as your number one content pillar, then think about your other buckets, and then go on to your topic clusters. So in just finishing off, I appreciate that today was really packed full of information. So how can you help get free help on SEO or social content strategy after this session? You can click on the link that Christine is going to drop into our chat box. Thank you. This is basically a exclusive offer for all the National Retailers Association members, where you can sign up free and get the best practice checklists. They cover content that we covered today, but also what we covered in CRO last week, and optimizing for e-commerce in the short term, which is our first webinar, as well as a number of other foundation e-commerce best practice checklists. So you can join free, so please feel free to hop along to sign up for the best practice checklists. You can also click on the second list, second link that is appearing in the chat box. And this, again, is an exclusive offer for NRA members. So you can actually book a free 30-minute call with me. So you can hop along to that link and book in a time that suits you. I've already had a couple of people book in meetings, which is great. So if you already have a clear SEO or social content strategy and you're actually ready to execute it, or you want help rolling that out, then you can head over to the NRA dedicated page on StraightArrow's website, which should be shared just there. So Robert, hello, has said, is it possible to get videos of this session and the 2 previous sessions? Absolutely. Beck will be sharing those. So definitely they've been pre-recorded for the members of the NRA. So she will be able to share those with you. So finally, I know we've run a little bit over. Thank you, everybody who's all stayed on. The whole crew has stayed on for the whole time. So thank you very much for that. We just wanted to ask if there's any questions at all that we can help with today. Thanks, Trish, for coming on. Awesome. Okay, great. So be formed first before investing in Google Ads. Ideally, yes. However, if you're already doing Google Ads and you haven't done any SEO technical analysis or on site, at the end of the day, Google Ads are buying, you're buying traffic. So it's not, the optimization on your website will have a small impact. Ideally, it will have a more effective and efficient result if you do have the SEO in place, because basically what that means is that the content that you'll have, having the right page headings, etc., will actually get more engagement with your audience. So the answer to that is, ideally, if you have the time to invest in getting your SEO in place first, I would recommend focusing on that and then bringing in your paid media. If you need short-term revenue and you're happy to invest right now for people that are ready to buy your product, I would definitely say go for it. And you know, Google Ads is the best investment that you can make there. Okay. So Trisha, there's a good question there for you. If you have one social channel active at the moment, but you don't see any traction or have low engagement, what do you recommend as a next step to turn things around?
I think the answer there is research. One good way to do this is to check what your competitors are doing and do a quick audit of your own pages and see what you might be doing that isn't getting any traction. So you can also check out the latest industry trends and try to experiment on posts and how you can maximize the hype through your brand. So if there's one thing that's constant here in this world, it's change. So, and that also applies to social media. So you should be open to that and don't be afraid to try new things and see how it will work for your brand. So you can always do trial and error, but back it up with research as well, so that you can have different experiences with your brand and see what works and what doesn't. So I think, the answer there is research, trial and error.
Great, thank you. So any more questions before we wrap up? I've got one more here. Is there an ideal or minimum number of content pillars and content types if I'm only to begin to implement this process? Look, I would definitely suggest between 4 to 6 content pillars, of which one of those should definitely be brand, and 3+ topic clusters per pillar as your foundation of content. And this will definitely mean that you have a large variety to choose from to keep your audience engaged. So, okay, so well, look, that looks like that's it for today's session. So I just wanted to say many thanks again to Rebecca at the NRA, as well as to Christine and Tricia from StraightArrow for having us here today. Don't forget that you can reach out to us for assistance on your SEO and social organic content strategy as an exclusive offer to the NRA members. And we hope that you will all come along as well next week to our fun webinar on email marketing automation. So thanks again for your participation, and hopefully we'll catch you all next week. Thanks, everybody. Bye. Thank you, Di.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Have a great day. Bye.